In today's session, we will discuss PDS and the role of the service advisor, support broker, or case manager. Before we begin, allow us to make a couple points about the title of this module. In case anyone may not be entirely familiar with the name of this program, Participant-Directed Services is commonly referred to as PDS. This program was formerly known as Consumer-Directed Options. This title has been removed from all waivers. While the title of your role may differ from waiver to waiver, the core functions are still the same: getting to know the participant, understanding met and unmet needs and the dynamics associated with these needs, determining the participant's preferences and goals, nuances and challenges, and using that to navigate conversations with the person-centered team to achieve successful and productive service utilization, being a go-to person for information about what services are available, how they can and cannot be utilized, and other potential options outside the waivers in the local community. Many participants over the years have benefited from utilizing an agency's staff members coming in to his or her home to assist with personal hygiene, homemaking, or getting out into the community. Many have also benefited from accessing facilities owned and operated by businesses. This style of care is generally referred to as traditional services. However, some have not had a positive experience at some point, and others may be reluctant to allow agency personnel to assist with tasks deemed too personal for someone unfamiliar. These are a couple of multiple reasons why PDS exists, and PDS has been an option within 5 Medicaid waivers now for approximately 10 plus years that provides an alternative to traditional services, and this slide helps illustrate a few of the differences. Participants are less likely to encounter these life experiences where we may take these for granted. These 5 components are the key to participant-directed services operating effectively. This creates the bigger overall difference between PDS and traditional. There is more control, but there is more responsibility. Who will provide the services? Will it be the family, natural supports, friends, neighbors, personal service agencies? What services are needed? Personal care, community living supports. The participant is able to select the services essential for care. How will the services be provided? Does the participant just want a certain amount of assistance? When will the services be provided? Times and days are to be the participant's decisions. Where will all the services be provided? In the home or in the community? These are some of the major freedoms and controls a participant has that he or she has a right and responsibility to. This slide is illustrating the most commonly used services in the waivers. Please note, not all these services are available in all waivers, so please refer to the waiver a participant is enrolled in to know exactly what is available. While enrolled in a waiver, a participant can choose traditional, participant-directed, and in some cases, they can choose to receive blended services, where some allowable services remain in the traditional delivery system and some are in the participant-directed. Services that are medical or residential cannot be participant-based. Your role with the participant can be a challenging one, but it can also be rewarding and fulfilling. You must fulfill several aspects to be effective in your role. In order to retain the person-centered principle, many points must be called to attention as we see here. Other key guidance that are part of this role include advocating for the participant and to access services while remaining within regulatory limits or without violating the integrity of the program, assisting the participant in gaining that freedom to control and taking the responsibility in his or her life for care, encouraging engagement in the community, recognizing personal interests and goals, and utilizing people's strengths and efforts to turn goals to reality. Communicating effectively and getting to know the participant are first and foremost in developing a positive relationship with the participant. Once a rapport is built, you should discover the participant's choices, preferences, and goals. As you also discover who else is currently a part of the participant's care picture or circle of support, you should be able to determine how the circle of support can fit into the plan of care design. As an employee, you must follow through on your commitments. You are the channel the participant must go through for accessing services, so you have a responsibility to ensure he or she has such an opportunity. The plan of care is to be designed based on person-centered principles, so it is your duty to ensure the participant's preferences and participation in decision-making is a priority. To ensure a participant and the team remain in compliance with the regulation and program standards, you must provide leadership to assist in the best possible version of service use. You must also stay current on case management practices to be effective in assisting the participant. A lack of prompt response to the participant's programming needs and processes can result in delayed payment to employees resigning, and a diminished rapport with the participant and the team. As mentioned previously, advocating for the participant is a key guidance. You must believe that autonomy can be possible for the participant while assessing PDS. For some participants, a representative may be chosen to further this possibility, which will be discussed in a later module. Support a participant's right to self-sufficient may need to be coupled with more supports or services, which is illustrated as guidance in the next two bullets. Each role identified here should have equal input and involvement in the person-centered team, with the participant being the center of attention. Should you experience events where it appears parties do not adhere to person-centered principles, you are bound by and reinforced with regulatory language to redirect those within the team to remain person-centered. As a coordinator, you must first establish what is to be accomplished, needs, wants, and how to get there. Then determine what is available: traditional services, PDS, service options, the strengths and availability of employees, and advising the participant on how these arrangements could look. Then, as services are ongoing, you will be speaking with the participant to see how the services are going, but you may also need to speak with traditional providers or employees to get their input, to verify what you understand and clarify any discrepancies. Please note, if a blended plan is developed, the coordinator portion of your role becomes more essential, as services cannot exceed time-sensitive regulatory limits or occur simultaneously. As a monitor, you will be required to inquire about the participant's health, safety, and welfare. You must also monitor service provisions to ensure prior authorizations and/or waiver limits are not exceeded. Services must be conducted in accordance with the service definition within regulation, along with the service plan goal design. Should you encounter any deviations or violations, you must act promptly by informing the participant of possible issues and present possible options for the participant and team to consider. As a trainer, you must first be able to communicate effectively. Once established, you must be able to convey the waiver availability, PDS functioning, and service array in a way that can be understood. Not everyone will understand what guidance or information that required forms or regulation language is trying to convey, so you must be prepared to translate into other phrases or illustrations. One thing to note here, if the concept of self-direction cannot be effectively understood, then it is possible PDS is not appropriate for this participant. If a case manager, support broker, or service advisor can reasonably determine this to be evident, then he or she can cite regulation language that states, create a person-centered plan that, and then prevents the provision of unnecessary or inappropriate services and supports. Many of the key concepts you will be covering in your training about PDS are contained in the Employer Responsibility and Expectation Form, which will be in a later module. And there are many other points you'll learn about this program that you must inform the participant about. Your agency may have or can generate internal forms that assist you in relaying to the participant what is necessary, help make the use of PDS successful. Should a representative be appointed, you will be responsible for ensuring that individual is provided the same training. The participant may request that you be a trainer for requirements to be a PDS employee. Watching for what works and what doesn't. If something is listed on a plan of care and isn't being carried out, please address it promptly, as that lends to an unnecessary or inappropriate person-centered service plan. The regulatory language a person-centered service plan must be bound to. Let's briefly discuss conflict-free case management. A provider cannot provide case management and other waiver services to the same participant unless the provider is the only qualified provider in the geographical area. A MAP 531 will need to be submitted and approved, which is done now through MWMA. Should you encounter a situation where it appears your agency is potentially providing a case management service as well as a direct service via traditional, you must exhaust other sources within 30 miles of the participant's residence for both case management and a specific direct service in order to be approved to provide both. Otherwise, if you locate a willing provider, for either case management or the direct service, you must initiate the transition of the respective agency. This concludes our session today on PDS and the role of a service advisor, support broker, or case manager. For any questions, please contact Dale at 502-564-6930 or also email us at dale.pds@ky.gov. Thank you.